Hey, somebody showed up already. Wasn't sure how this was going to go. Oh, somebody left already. With like 500 subscribers or whatever. I'm not sure if anybody would show up, but trying it out. If you're in here, please say hi. Very grateful for anybody who shows. All right. Well, I guess until somebody shows up, I'll just go over what's going on. Trying to share. There we go. So, my primary interest, my day job is in cryptocurrency. And we just recently had a story about Andrew Tate. And I haven't really maintained this channel, the Bureau Speaks channel. But I thought since it had a crossover between kind of the dating world and, this uh, guru Andrew Tate and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I thought maybe we could talk about that. Well, it says we have 4 people showed up. Andrew Tate mulls $100 million Bitcoin buy, says done with banks. Controversial Andrew Tate mulls torching fiat in 100 million in Bitcoin buy, slams banks as scams amid legal chaos. I'm really hoping to get some interactivity. So if you're out there, please chime in. Uh, Andrew Tate is no stranger to digital assets, having recently promoted his own cryptocurrency project before abruptly backtracking amid scam allegations. The influencer has also mocked crypto investing as akin to gambling, with the added problem of circumventing the life lessons, such as hard work and discipline, needed to become a winner in his eyes. Even so, Tate's latest post on X has crypto advocates cheering him on as he announced plans to go all in on Bitcoin with a $100 million buy while ditching fiat currency entirely. So, kind of curious, does Andrew Tate actually have $100 million? What do you guys think? Especially like 100 million liquid. He sold, I guess, all his liquid assets like stocks and stuff. When you have $100 million. Andrew Tate is done with banks. In a recent tweet, Tate revealed his plan to ditch fiat money entirely by buying $100 million worth of Bitcoin. Tate stated he knows he's, quote, not supposed to do this in chaotic times, end quote, but it seems as though the influencer has finally had it with banks and fiat money. Here's his post. I know I'm not supposed to do this in chaotic times, but I'm about to leave fiat completely. and ape over $100 million into Bitcoin. And I'll even prove I did it. I'm done with the banks. I'm done with their money. Done with the scams. Then I'm going boating. Hey, there's my guy. What's up, philosophy junkies? Okay, so uh, chaotic times. I think he's talking about like Bitcoin is a risk on asset. We would say, so it goes up when things are stable and good generally, and it goes down when there's trouble. So I think he's referring to that. And I'll even prove I did it. Now, this is something that's kind of interesting about Bitcoin is um, there's a wide array of privacy levels and options, right? If you know what someone's public address is, then you know how much Bitcoin they have, right? So um, it's actually much easier to prove that you have, say, one Bitcoin than it is to prove that you have $60,000 of cash. Uh, the same private key that essentially acts as your password um, to move Bitcoin, to spend Bitcoin, can also be used to sign um, messages to prove that you are, in fact, the owner of that Bitcoin. So, um, and that's without exposing uh, to anyone else what your private key is. So, for instance, you're probably familiar at this point with these chip cards, right? The whole point of the chip card is that um, instead of basically handing over all your financial information to use your credit card, there's a hidden secret seed, if you will, in embedded in this chip card, so that when the bank says, it basically sends back a random number, and then the chip applies its hidden seed to that random number and sends back kind of like the response, and then uh, that random number changes, and there's no way to predict uh, what the new random number will be or what the correct response would be. So that's what the whole chip card idea is. It's a cryptographic principle that's similar in a lot of ways to how Bitcoin operates. So um, the chip card allows me to prove that I have this physical card in my possession, whereas in the old days without the chip, uh, you couldn't prove that you had the card. You could have just like copied down the numbers. You could have taken a photo or whatever and just have the numbers. So some interesting cryptography in there with the proof of funds. I'm done with the banks. I'm done with their money. Done with the scams. Then I'm going boating. So something that I don't know much about Andrew Tate is like his legal battles and whatever. So I was actually looking around if there was somebody who wanted to come on my other podcast, my Bitcoin podcast, my crypto podcast, who knows a lot about Andrew Tate, so we could kind of like discuss this. But I personally have had, the government just like seize money from me on several occasions. Sometimes because of there was like a mistake in my filing when I used to own a business, and like it was just crazy. Like my payroll taxes were like whatever level, pretty low. I had at max three employees, and then like the filing was done improperly somehow for 1 quarter, right? And then they just said, "Oh, you didn't file? Well, your payroll taxes must be this high." And then they just like took all the money that I had in the bank to cover this invented payroll tax bill. Um, and that just can't be done with like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Um, the government just can't basically say, "Hey, bank," or "Hey, person holding the cryptocurrency, um, you have to give us all of David's cryptocurrency." Uh, and a self custody solution. So actually, if you keep your Bitcoin on Coinbase, for example, the government can take all that. But if you keep all your Bitcoin in your own Bitcoin wallet, you self custody. The government can't just seize these things from you. So it's one of the pluses. It's a plus and a minus for sure. Everything with this new system that's different from the old system has pluses and minuses. Um, for instance, if somebody stole your Bitcoin, the government can't just like recover that for you easily, right? But I my understanding is that he's had some legal trouble and whatever, and they like the Romanian government or something seized a bunch of his assets, and that just can't be done with self-custodied crypto. So I was really curious if like that's what's going on, if that's what's prompting him to move his wealth into a system that can't be just seized. I mean, you go as like this goes as high as like nation states, if you will, right? Like the nation of Iran had $100 billion, something like this, seized, right? And there's nothing they could do about it, right? The money that they had in the international banking system is just like uh, at risk of being seized by the U.S. government at any time. And famously, like Obama, like the Republicans say, "Oh, Obama gave $100 billion to Iran," but he didn't. He unfroze $100 billion that was already belonging to Iran. So if Iran can't stop their assets in the international banking system from being seized, what chance do you and I have, right? All right, let me check in with these comments here. WTF, the government taking your money. Yeah. Act to you. How long until banks collapse? Oh, according to me, how long until banks collapse internationally? So, um, I first some people put it, I first ignored Bitcoin in 2011. And then I first became a fan in like 2014. So, like when you first discover something like this, you often think like, "Oh, it's going to happen fast because I just discovered it. I just learned." When I first like started to understand like how much government the U.S. Debt the U.S. government had, it's like, "Oh, this can't last. This can't last. It's going to come collapsing down." Well, it's actually been around for a long time. There's been too much debt for a long time. Uh, you know, the banking system has been more or less as it is for a long time, and I don't expect um, these things to collapse. I expect that inflation will continue to occur on fiat currencies. Um, we've had a fair bout of it with the U.S. dollar, but most currencies actually do worse than the dollar. So we've had Lebanon had their currency pegged to the dollar, and then they just abandoned it, and they just kept everybody's deposits. Like you hand in $100 of U.S. dollars, and they handed you like 100,000 of their Lebanese currency, something like that, right? But they weren't actually holding on to these dollars; they were spending them. And then when people would come back and say, here's my 100,000 Lebanese dollars. Please give me 100 US dollars. I'm not saying that was the exact exchange rate, but it was something like that. And they're like, well, we don't have it. We already spent the dollars that you gave to us. Then they just couldn't maintain the peg, and financial chaos. Cyprus, Zimbabwe. I mean, there's been a ton of pretty big problems with the financial currency of Weimar Republic, famously. Um, so I expect those problems to continue internationally. I don't expect everything to just collapse um, at anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, if you just like look at inflation rates and how badly fiat performs over time, um, hopefully people are becoming more and more aware of that. But I don't expect any like sudden collapse. My boy Philosophy Junkies says, yeah, he went to jail, but now has been released. Talking about Andrew Tate. I'm open to talking on Crypto Channel, but I got to get my laptop together. Uh, Crypto or not, banks have got to go. Yeah. So, like, but what are we going to replace banks with? Right. I'm not sure what you have in mind, but I'd be interested to hear what it is that you think about banks that's so bad that it has to go. Philosophy junkies, why don't we schedule something? I recorded 6 episodes on my crypto podcast, and what I've done every time is I do a Zoom and I record it. So yeah, if we schedule that, we do that. Jawad, hello everyone. Hello, thanks for stopping by. This is only my second ever live on this channel, so thanks a lot to everybody who stopped by and especially commented. So, just getting back to the idea of Andrew Tate and putting your money in a system that can't be readily seized. Um, Now they can still seize your person, right? They can seize anything that you own that's physical. Um, so it's not like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency like somehow gets you out of tyranny, if you will. But they can, as far as the Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies go, they can only really seize what they know that you have. They can only, uh, we have our Bitcoin stored on a Trezor wallet, and it has a uh, pin to it. So if somebody got a hold of my Trezor wallet, they wouldn't be able to steal my funds. They'd have to know my pin. Um, if the Trezor wallet is stolen, we have backup backup seed phrases. Um, we did like a 3 of 5 system, so we have one one of the 5 pieces scattered around, where that anybody who gets 3 of the 5 pieces could take all our crypto. So that's kind of like the backup in case we lose the little Trezor wallet. So yeah, I mean, like we're in a lot more jeopardy of somehow making a mistake and losing it than really having it stolen from us. But you know, if the government or terrorists or criminals or whatever um, wanted to get our Bitcoin, they could kidnap me and or Victoria and our little Trezor wallet and force us to, spend the money, move the Bitcoin to their accounts, and then hopefully they'd let us go, but we'd have no way of getting it back, right? So again, everything is like pros and cons. Um, if terrorists kidnapped me and Victoria and made us transfer money out of our banks, we'd have some hope of getting it back. Not that much hope, but some. I mean, um, these things do happen. Sometimes you get at least a share of your money back, but there'd be almost no hope with crypto. Okay. Um, Without giving more details on what prompted his change of heart regarding fiat money, Tate left a clue by saying, "Then I'm going boating," potentially referring to having troubles with the authorities. This to me sounds like he's just gonna like relax. I think. I don't think this is saying like that I'm gonna escape on a boat, but maybe I'm wrong. There was no shortage of Bitcoiners egging him on to make a colossal Bitcoin buy with replies such as, "This isn't an ape, it's common sense," and "less words, more action." Equally, some replied with skepticism, calling for proof. Despite his seemingly anti crypto stance at times, Tate claimed to have been a Bitcoin holder and weekly buyer since 2018, making him part of the community he has publicly mocked in the past. So again, like there's varying levels of privacy with crypto. I wanted to make a payment 2 years ago, maybe, um, but I didn't want to expose to the person who I was paying just how much crypto I had, right? Uh, and that's a bit of an issue. Like if you send a Venmo or whatever, the person who receives your Venmo doesn't know how much money you have. But if you send Bitcoin from Bitcoin address X to their Bitcoin address, um, they see how much was in that address, or they can. A lot of people aren't savvy enough to look or curious enough to look, even if they are savvy enough. But if they wanted to, they could see just how much. Now, I don't have anywhere near this kind of money, but let's just say I had $1 million worth of Bitcoin in a Bitcoin address, and then I pay someone. They can see that even if I pay them $5 or less, they can see that I sent $5, and then I got in change, so to speak, 9,999,995 in change. That's just how Bitcoin works. So so to bring it back to what we're talking about here, if Tate has been a Bitcoin holder and weekly buyer since 2018, he can prove that, but he can't prove it without revealing how much he has. Um, so again, there's like pros and cons and differing levels of security that you can um, opt for. On my main Bitcoin podcast, I only have 3 episodes published because I started with a sponsorship, and then the sponsor dropped out, and I've been kind of like working with them to like I'm going to take it over. So I have 3 episodes that are recorded and not posted, which is kind of sucky. But um, so one of the episodes, I interviewed the head guy on Wasabi Wallet, which is a privacy wallet for Bitcoin. Um, and so you can use things like this. I don't necessarily need to get into all the details of it. I'll post the interview eventually, where we go into it quite a bit. But um, that example where I said like I have dollars, I send five. The person who gets the five knows that I have 1 million at least. Um, with something like a coin join, that privacy is maintained. So it's harder then to prove that I have $1 million because it's kind of like, no, that's not even true. But um, but there's pros and cons. You have to go through like extra steps and a little extra expense to do that coin join process to maintain your privacy. And depends on how important your privacy is to you. Um, Please feel free to jump in. Anybody? Questions, comments? So it's just interesting. Like if he was like claiming that he had been stocking up on gold, he's a gold bug or whatever. It's very hard to prove that you've been buying gold since 2018. Maybe you could show, some receipts or whatever. But if you had been buying Bitcoin since 2018 and you wanted to prove it, it's very easy to do. Serious allegations. Andrew Tate's motives for going fully Bitcoin are unclear, particularly in light of public mocking the crypto industry. In other words, he publicly mocked the crypto industry in the past. Yeah, I'd be interested to see like how he bounces back and forth. The I think if I guess his name's probably just going to come out sounding racist. I feel like it's Kirosaki, but no, I think that's the movie guy. Anyway, um, he's always like back and forth on crypto. Like when it's up, he's like, "Oh, I'm just a supporter of Bitcoin," and then when it's down, he's like, "Oh, this stuff sucks." So Andrew Tate certainly wouldn't be the first person to be hot and cold. However, the controversial social media personality faces fresh allegations of rape and sexual assault. So, I mean, I'm a libertarian, minarchist, whatever, um, and so I've felt that, like, the government is tyrannical. For I've felt that way for about 15 years. I feel that the government has been pretty tyrannical for over 100 years. Um, but there are a lot of men out there that we've encountered through Victoria's channel who feel like the government is really uh, coming after uh, heterosexual men, and that there's like it's a big risk to basically to have sex. Certainly to be like forward. And so, like if that is something that you feel like is a big risk, putting your money into crypto, might be a way to avoid having it just like, you know, taken from you over false allegations. Here we go. Little activity on the channel. Thank you. Thank you. Jawad. I don't remember subbing to this channel. Yeah. You probably subbed it because you're a subscriber to my non-leather life, Victoria. That's my girlfriend and life partner. Um, kind of been. Let me do a little bit of the channel update. Kind of been promising to start a companion channel to my non-leather life for a while. Um, as recently as a few months ago, I really thought we were gonna go for it, and I did a live to try and like gather some feedback and some ideas. Um, and then we kind of like decided not to do it, at least for now. We were kind of talking about Victoria gets this never asked the fish how to fish thing a lot, right? And so, one question is like, okay, if I do this channel and I talk about the things that Victoria's been talking about, is that basically saying like, oh, you need a man to explain this stuff because only a man knows, how to hit on a woman or seduce a woman or whatever? Um, and we're like implicitly, implicitly uh, admitting that like you shouldn't ask a fish how to fish. In other words, you shouldn't ask a woman how to seduce a woman. Um, and of course, I disagree with that idea completely. So that's one of the things that has stalled the launch of the Beardo Speaks channel. Is I definitely don't want to give the impression that I think what Victoria has said is somehow incomplete or inferior to what I could say. So Be interested to hear, what you guys think about that idea. If you don't want to comment here, pretty sure my email address is beardospeaks@gmail. Beardo Speaks. Yeah, just Beardo Speaks at Gmail. You can email me there. So that's kind of like the update on why there are no videos on Beardo Speaks, or there's like one video and one live. And hopefully that explains, Jawad, how you ended up subscribing to this channel. Philosophy junkies. Yeah, I can do Zoom. I know you want to talk while it's a hot story. Yes, exactly. Exactly. This seems like a cool stream. I'll stay subbed. Thank you. Let's try tomorrow or Sunday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon. I could do. Yeah, yeah. The sooner the better. I could definitely do tomorrow. We're traveling around, so I don't have like as good a setup as I usually do, but that's okay. What are your thoughts on the whole GameStop AMC stock situation? I actually lost quite a bit of money on that in what was that? Maybe 2021. Um, my thoughts are I would try not to get caught up in the hype. You know, um, I actually like kind of shorted it along with a lot of the big players. Uh, and then I was actually talking to a friend of mine. I was like, man, I really hope like Elon Musk doesn't like jump on Twitter and like say, oh, let's go GameStop. And then that same day, he literally did. Like the day that I shorted it after hours, he was like, oh, GameStop, this is awesome. Let's go. So I wound up losing some money being against it. Um, so I mean, like a lot of the hype was, oh, we're gonna buy GameStop and we're just never gonna sell, and that's just not possible. I mean, like you can hold it forever, but like some people are gonna sell. You can't just like there was this idea that like there are all these shorts out there, and as long as nobody ever sells, then the shorts can never be made whole. And sure, that's true, but there's no way that nobody ever is going to sell, especially when it was like, I don't know, 60 times up, 60 times what it used to be. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to want to take that profit. What are my thoughts on meme coins? I have never invested in meme coins. I wouldn't. Um, I think that the way to make money on something like a meme coin, first of all, is to make one if you can. I mean, it's not easy to make it and like get people to jump on board. Making the meme coin is actually quite easy. Getting people to buy into it is the hard part. So you can make money on meme coins by making one, and you can make money on meme coins by participating. For instance, uh, if you set up a donation website for Canadian truckers and you take donations in Dogecoin or whatever, right? Like, you can use the meme coin. You can hop on that bandwagon and you can make money in that way. I wouldn't hold any. Definitely not. You can buy some of his courses with crypto. He allows it on his website. That's cool. I'm assuming we're talking about Andrew Tate. Will it make a big difference if Tate buys 100 million in Bitcoin? Will Bitcoin owners feel it? Very good question. If any particular person bought $100 million in Bitcoin, it wouldn't make too much of an impact. Bitcoin's market cap is 1,000 million, billion, trillion, 1.2 trillion. So $100 million is this decimal here. And it wouldn't cause the market cap to go up 100 million. Because on the other side of that is some people who are selling, obviously. Like, it all depends on the elasticity and whatever, but it shouldn't cause the market cap to go up by 100 million. It should cause it to go up by less than that. But it's not really. I probably didn't even share that, did I? Did it switch? No, it stayed on the article, right? What am I sharing here? Sorry. I'm not as familiar as I should be. See, there's the sharing. Okay. So I was looking at Coin Market Cap here. Um, I'm a lot more familiar with Zoom than YouTube Lives. So Bitcoin's market cap is 1.3 trillion, and $100 million is right here on this decimal. And so, someone anonymously buying $100 million wouldn't make a huge impact on the price. But if Tate buys $100 million in Bitcoin and that causes a cascade of his followers buying a bunch of Bitcoin, it could make a big difference for sure. Isn't BlackRock buying Bitcoin now? Yeah. Yes. ETFs, especially, are the big news right now in the Bitcoin financial world. Um, so it's not just institutional investors, but like they're making it available to people with their 401ks and all that kind of stuff. I have lots of entirely separate ideas about stuff you could talk about. People just wanting different take on some things. Okay, I'll get ready for tomorrow afternoon on Zoom. Okay, cool, good. I look forward to it. Um, Victoria, you can text Victoria, or I'll get your number for her from her or whatever. There's got to be a better way to do it than this, but let's see. Window. Andrew Tate. 4 British women have brought a civil action in the UK High Court accusing Tate of sexual abuse that was said to have taken place between 2013 and 2016. Three of the women reported Tate to the police, but the Crown Prosecution Service did not proceed with a criminal case in 2019. Lawyers for the women stated that having been let down by the police and CPS, Crown Protection Service, civil action is their last remaining route to justice. So I don't especially side with men. Okay. I am a man, right? But like, it doesn't mean that like some stranger man is somehow on my team to me. But nevertheless, being a man and, mostly speaking to men through this channel, um, it is concerning that like you could be accused of rape, be um, found innocent, not guilty, and then be sued for money, even though having been being found innocent, and at a minimum, have to like defend yourself. Probably spend money on lawyers. Probably spend a lot of time, a lot of stress. So it is concerning. Tate denied the allegations and is threatening to file a counterclaim on the grounds of defamation. Last month, a court in Romania also ruled that human trafficking charges against Andrew Tate can proceed to trial. Romania, is that what I said before? Tate and his brother Tristan were held in custody between December 2022 and April 2023 as prosecutors built their case against the pair and two Romanian female suspects. During the Tate brothers' incarceration, Romanian authorities seized $3.9 million worth of his assets, including luxury cars, watches, cash, and identified 10 properties owned by companies controlled by them. Well, if he's got $4 million worth of assets for the Romanians to seize, maybe he does have 100 million. Seizing cryptocurrency is much more difficult compared to physical assets. Okay, yeah, for sure. Requiring asset access to passwords and seed phrases to carry out confiscation. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, and this is a reason why it might make sense, even if Tate is not particularly a Bitcoin believer. But this is why it might make sense for him to try to put a lot of his assets into Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies that should hold value. On the flip side, again, this is interesting. Is this like the anti crypto box? Using fiat for payments is much less frictionless than using Bitcoin, even when using the Lightning Network. I agree. A $100 million Bitcoin buy would equate to around 1,500 Bitcoin. Many retailers accept many retailers that accept Bitcoin convert the received crypto into fiat through the payment provider. Sure. Why this matters. While Tate hasn't explicitly stated his reasons for wanting to abandon fiat, his comments do express a mistrust around traditional legacy systems, which rings true for many Bitcoin believers. Okay, so that's the article. I kind of skipped over this, but like when you say you have a lot of entirely separate ideas about stuff I could talk about, I'm very interested to discuss that with you. He was basically a webcam pimp. Yeah, yeah, I remember that. But so what was he doing wrong though? Was he supposedly like stealing from these women? I heard he like would like kind of like brag about it on his own stream about like how he would like trick these women into like giving them giving him their money or something. Got women to fly over and live with him for his webcam business. Yeah. Holy cow. We've been on this thing for 40 plus minutes. That flew by. Okay. Well, I just wanted to pop it up and see if we could get any interactivity on this topic. When I was scrolling the article, was it not scrolling? No, it was scrolling, right? Yeah, it was scrolling. Okay. Real YouTube Live Pro here. Okay. Being very aggressive and saying they couldn't leave. Okay. Well, I mean, if he was really doing that, like, that's not okay. They said they were scared to leave the premises. Okay. All right. So yeah, update on Beardo Speaks is we've put off making videos for it. One of the big concerns is that me making a channel about the same kinds of things that my non-leather life channel was about would implicitly imply, those are kind of the same words, right? That Victoria wasn't doing a good enough job with it. So I'm curious what anybody thinks about that, if they would agree or disagree. And I'm making a cryptocurrency channel, Proof of Pod. I have 3 episodes posted, 3 more in the can that should be posted soon. I had a sponsor, lost the sponsor. So